morning. There's a fly that got inside the house. Jeez, come on. It's so annoying. Let's fix you up a bit. There you go. That's better. So, welcome to a new vlog, and today we're going to start working on Act 3 of Project L&M. That's hot. So, I've started late today. It's now 8:26. Supposedly, I would have started filming about 30 to 40 minutes ago, so I have enough time to yap before I start writing for the day. So, anyways, Act 3. Now, before I actually start writing, I need to share with you some things that had happened last week when I finished writing chapter 36. Because, spoiler alert, chapter 36 is the end of Act 2. But I didn't know that then. So, quick recap. Hopefully it's actually quick, but you guys know I have a tendency to ramble on. Anyway, so I thought chapter 36 is still like a scene or two away from the actual end of Act 2 because I misunderstood what the plot beat for the end of Act 2 actually needs. So I misunderstood that. So I thought I had to actually write another scene or two as basically a break into Act 3 kind of thing. But, like I said, I misunderstood it. But I didn't know that at the time. So, this fly, my golly! Ein! Go chase the fly, Papa! Go murder a fly for mommy. No? Okay. Guess not. So, I knew I knew the scenes that's going to follow chapter 36, and since I was that close to the third act, I decided to plot down the scenes that I thought it's gonna be for each plot points for the third act. And when I did this, there are scenes here like, you know, like the darkest moment / dark night of the soul and the power within beat / the aha moment. I thought that because for my characters to have those scenes in those plot beats, it's more, yes, the external plot has to raise the stakes has to go higher for the third act, right? Until it reached the climax. But the emotional beats is just as important for the characters to reach at a certain point. I mean, if they're still confused and meandering in their life, how are they gonna be at the aha moment to realize the truth that they needed to learn in the book? Well, I thought from where they're at in chapter 36 emotionally and seeing what needs to happen in how many did I write it? There's a few scenes, like 1, 2, these are 7 scenes that I thought is gonna be just, you know, those scenes are the only ones that's gonna be the difference between chapter 36 and the darkest moment. It's not, don't worry, it's not. Anyways, but at the time I thought that's all they need, and I knew they're not gonna be ready to be in the darkest moment and the power within beats from where they're at now. It's just, it's not lining up character arc wise. So, my knee-jerk reaction was that this meant that the character arcs aren't lining up. So this meant that draft 2.5 officially ends in chapter 36. And now I have to figure out how to fix the character arcs, so when I start draft 3, they will line up where they need to be. So I went gung-ho right away on that decision. Like, there's no pausing or taking a break in between me realizing that and making the decision to start planning for revisions. And the first step for that was me actually researching how to make a revision plan that's more structured, because my revision plan for draft 2/draft 2.5 is to rewrite the entire thing with the new scenes that's more in line with the story, because I didn't outline this draft. There's no outlining that happened before I started writing. I don't know if you guys knew that, but if you've seen some of my previous vlogs, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that. Don't worry about that little thing. Anyway, so I didn't take a deep breath. I didn't pause in that decision. It's like I decided on making a revision plan from then on and went full steam ahead. But let me dial it back again. So I started researching, watching YouTube videos on how to make a revision plan, because there's no one way to do it. Every book and every author needs different things. So I didn't understood that when I was first starting out, but now, after my little bit of experience writing this draft, I realized that it is true that not all authors and not all books is going to require the same type of revision, and that's what a revision plan is for. I understand more basically the heart of what a revision really is like during that research. So at least that's a plus. See, silver lining. We're very good at looking at the silver lining in this channel. Anyway, so I was doing that for the rest of the day after I filmed the last YouTube video I posted on the same day. And then after I did that, for the rest of the day, I was researching. And then all the way to the following morning, I continue on researching, just so you know, I have an idea. Then every time I take a break from doing research, there was a moment there in the middle of the second day wherein I started compiling at least the ideas. Let me show you guys what those are. I made a list of what I think are the things I need to do, like basically my revision plan. I make a revision plan based on what I think the book needs, or the steps I need to take to make the third draft a stronger book. So let's start here, because this is just my brainstorming. This is part of the brainstorming. So here, don't worry about that. So here is the start of the revision plan, as well as this part. So I have a few goals when I decided on this route, on this trail of decision. Is that a thing? I'm saying that wrong, but you guys know what I meant. So I have a few goals. Even before doing the read-through, I already know there are a few stuff that I wanted to change, and it got solidified. It's solidified. It's solidified when I realized that since the character arcs aren't lining up where they should, this meant is another full rewrite of the manuscript. But this time, since I discovered in draft 2.5 the action beats as well as the trajectory of the external arc and what needs to get done, as well as the other romantic scenes that I didn't discover during the first draft, I have a pretty good idea, at least, that I can plot out, or I have a better belief, let's say, that I can plot out the book ahead of time this time. And since I understood the story more. But then, as I was saying earlier, around the middle of the second day, I started thinking that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do another full rewrite after I just did an entire full rewrite for draft 2.5, or at the very least, I don't want to work on a full rewrite yet. Like, I'm still interested in the book. The story is still important to me. I still want to finish it. There's no way that I'm not gonna finish this book. It might take a long while, but I knew in my heart I will finish this book. But at the time, I was second guessing myself. Should I start this revision now? Should I wait? So that's jumbling up all my thoughts and ideas for the revisions. And so I decided to start, no, actually, I found this video from K.A. Emmons. I think it's Abby Emmons' sister, and they do a video podcast that they share on YouTube. And I found it, I think it's their 16th or 7th episode. I'll post the screenshot of the thumbnail here, and I will link it down in the descriptions for you guys if you want to check it out as well. So anyways, I watched that and I started thinking, maybe I didn't need a full rewrite. Maybe once I do a reread, my read through, once I do that, maybe I can figure out a way to fix the problems outside of Act 1, because Act 1 needs a full rewrite. Even without the other worries, it still needs a full rewrite. Anyways, so I was thinking that maybe I didn't need to do a full rewrite. So I started thinking on that, and I'm more excited about that idea, even though I know that it probably is going to take a bunch of finagling, how do you say that? Finagling? To figure out how to fix the problems for each scene or plot point that I would find, and to make it better without doing a complete rewrite. Because even though complete rewrites are time consuming, they actually are easier sometimes to do if the developmental edits that you're doing are really all-encompassing. There you go. All-encompassing. Forgive my accent. Anyway, so I watched that, and then I took another break. After that, I started questioning myself. Am I just... Well, there are a bunch of author advices from, authors who had experience during publishing and writing. And a lot of them had said that there will come a time that you'll have to push through the hard parts of writing a book. And I remember that at that moment, and I was thinking, is this the hard part? Because I'm making this decision. I didn't want to do what probably is the best course of action, and I'm trying to figure out how to not do that kind of work, and maybe I'm just not pushing through. So I thought I should also try researching the topic of when to shelf your book away. I was just thinking that maybe I should push it aside for now and go back to it later once I figure out what I need to do, just like what I did for the first draft of this same book. I didn't know how to fix the problems I knew was there. It took me almost a year, about a year actually, to get back to it again and have the idea on how to fix it. So I was contemplating that, but I decided maybe I should research on what to consider once you started thinking about something like that. And I watched this video from Shailene, thumbnail here, and also I will link the video down in the descriptions for you guys if you're interested. Anyway, so everything that she pointed out makes sense, but not comparable to how I was feeling at the time. So I was both confused, and I probably should have watched more, but I couldn't find a lot of advice or tips to look for or look out for if you're in that headspace. Anyways, I probably should have rewarded my search, but instead I decided to journal. So I journal. I put down my thoughts, and at the end of it, I still don't know which route to take. So I've decided, you know what? I'm gonna push all these decisions aside, and what I'm gonna do is overimpose the character arcs with the scenes, external plot scenes for the third act, and plot that and outline that better, which I did. And so I realized I was so not sure of myself and my own process and of my own skills that instead of doing that first, I should have done that first instead of jumping into the conclusion. I should have made sure first that the character arc and the plot beats aren't going to line up first before I jump into the conclusion that I needed to start on draft 3 already, because it was actually lining up. While I was doing that outline, I managed to think up more scenes, and there are definitely more than, what number did I say earlier? That number of scenes between chapter 36 and the darkest moment. There's way more scenes in between, and it should have been the first thing I did, but I didn't. So I didn't have to start draft 3 the way I thought that I did and stop writing draft 2.5 and edited chapter 36. And I also realized that chapter 36 is actually the end of Act 2. And somewhere in there, in that scene, it hit the plot beat. Well, I'm just gonna say it, it's a requirement. The plot beat isn't required. There are a bunch of, depending on your own structure, there are certain plot beats that your story might not require, but if you're gonna put that plot beat, there has to be a certain element in the story or the book or in the scene that would fit that plot beat. So I'm just saying that now because I don't want to sound prescriptive. So the plot beat requires a certain aspect, and this plot beat, I require it for this story for it to make sense, and it did hit that. So what did we learn? At least what I learned. I hope you learned something for yourself, or at least this my cautionary tales. You know, I'm a big cautionary tale for a bunch of you guys during my vlogs, but what I learned is probably to put a post-it note here and say, you know, take a deep breath every time you have a knee-jerk reaction or conclusion without, you know, actually investigating it further or going deeper into the process first. Anyways, but what I really learned is that even though I'm a newbie I'm a writer newbie and there's a lot of things I still don't know, even my own process, that sometimes I also need to trust myself. Because it's very easy for me to gaslight myself. I have a bunch of insecurities and we're not even gonna go dig into that, but I need to learn to trust myself more. That I am where I at in the story or in a book, and I understood enough intuitively, my intuition my intuition is working enough for me to be able to discover, draft this book, and understood story structure, at least the story points I need to hit while I was drafting, even without an outline. And they're not broken, my intuition that is, and it's not broken, and I need to trust in that even though I didn't have a lot of experience with storytelling and writing, my intuition understood it, even though I can't explain it yet, because like I said, technically I didn't know as much as I hope I do. Anyway, so yeah, trusting in my process, and if something felt wrong, I need to stop having knee-jerk conclusions and reactions and expecting myself to have botched up the entire thing. So that's my moral of the story for this time. But anyways, it's now 8:53 a.m. I've been yapping for almost 30 minutes. So I am going to I'm going to take my little pupper out real quick for a potty break, and then I'm gonna jump into writing for the day. Even though it's almost 9 already and it's gonna be past 9 by the time I start writing, I'm hoping to reach 2,000 words today, or at least I'm going to write until 12:30 in the afternoon, whichever comes first, 2,000 words or 12:30 in the afternoon. But that's the plan for today, and so I'll see you guys in a few. Editing Anne here. I just popped in because I forgot to mention that I made a playlist of all the YouTube videos that I watched during that Mad-2 revision research, and I'm going to link those down at the descriptions for you guys, or at least I linked the playlist down for you guys. And yeah, that's it. In case you're interested, check those out. I started the outline for chapter 37 yesterday, and while I was doing that, I realized that I needed for Marcus to have something that would push him into the action that I need him to do, so that chapter 37 and 38 can actually happen. This is going to be the resolution to their mini relationship conflict for Marcus and Lachlan, because they entered chapter 37 in conflict with each other, and I need them to start working on that in chapter 37 and chapter 38, and probably chapter 39 too. So I needed something to push Marcus, but my first idea was to put a conflict in chapter 37, an external one that would make Marcus realize that Lachlan, for all the space that he's putting between them, wasn't putting it between them because he needed the space to make up his mind or to figure out how to fix the problem that they have or the conflict between them. And Marcus, being himself, have decided to give Lachlan the space that he wanted and he thought he needed, because, you know, boundaries and respect and things like that. But that's not what Lachlan was doing. I need to push Marcus so that he could open the conversation that they needed to have with each other to start the process of fixing the conflict. But I felt like putting the conflict in the chapter it felt too manipulative in a way that's not serving the story, like, you know, just it won't be deep. And I want the push that Marcus will experience to be a bit deeper than a fake conflict that I'll just throw in the chapter outside of the conflict that is already in it because of what they're all going through in the scenes. So instead, I had this idea months ago when I was about at the midpoint of the draft, and I wanted Lorenzo, which is the patriarch of the Sterling family, to have a little bit of a conversation with Marcus. And that's the scene I wrote yesterday, after I realized that Marcus needed the push. So anyways, this scene is never going to be in the book, and it's also going to be in Lorenzo's POV. I was thinking that this scene will be more of a bonus scene for future newsletter subscribers, but I still needed to write this in because I needed to know the things that Lorenzo told Marcus that would help push Marcus to where he needed to be for chapter 37. And now that the sprint is done for chapter 37, well, Lorenzo versus Marcus's scene was about 1,929 words, and today I finished, let me see, because you're right there in front of me, but I wrote about that's 808 words for this sprint, and there's a few revelation that's gonna be in this scene that originally was supposed to be in Lachlan's point of view, but I realized that I needed to show it in Marcus' point of view first, and it cannot just be a summary because the readers, I think they need to see the emotion behind at least one of the scenes, and it's important to the plot. I could have still summarized one scene, but but there's another scene that I realized I shouldn't just summarize at the beginning of the chapter. And also, this way, even though the readers isn't going to see the conversation between Marcus and Lorenzo, they would still have the snippets, the advice that Lorenzo gave Marcus during that conversation throughout this scene in chapter 37, and therefore they could at least experience the decision that Marcus is gonna go through, or the decision he's gonna make to push him forward into the story. And I think that's more important than showing the scene between Marcus and Lorenzo in Marcus' POV. So yeah, that's the first sprint done for the day. I have 808 words, I said earlier, right? I'm gonna go take a quick break, take the puppy out, and then I'm gonna come back for the second sprint, and I'll see you guys again in a few.
She's probably somewhere on the beach, or museums talking history, relying on grape shit, rolling Adderall to get by. She's got ADHD, she's got everything I need, and we got a million things to do before we die.
Hello. You are so crooked right now. Let me fix you a bit. There, that's better. So, it's cold. But when I went out earlier before the second sprint, it was so hot outside. It's super sunny today compared to the rainy slash thunderstormy weather we had yesterday. So I took off my jacket, and when I came back, it felt better to put the blanket on me instead of putting my jacket back on. So anyways, second sprint was shorter than the first one, only because I don't know. Oh, it's because I'm sharing you one of my motivations for writing. I usually use the Forest app every time I do a writing sprint, and even if I don't, if I'm sitting at my desk and trying to focus on something, I always use the Forest app. I made a mess. Excuse me. So anyways, the Forest app has this new beta thingy, and if I redeem all these tasks or challenge, I'd be able to collect the flower at the end of that without having to use my gold coins or my gems to get it. So this is one of my motivation when I write. I want to redeem all of this. So I made the second sprint shorter than the first because I only have, right now it's 11:40 a.m. So I have less than an hour to finish writing, and I'm hoping to get 2,000 words before or by 12:30. And the requirement for the bottom one was planting the tree that I was planting the entire time 4 times. So if I plant it on shorter intervals, I can plant it more and I can redeem it, so I can get the plant at the end of that event. So I was gaming the game. Anyway, so regarding this chapter, it was going along, and I think I forgot to mention earlier during my update after the first sprint that one of the Ahini, can you please scooch, bebeng? Please scooch, baby. Please, thank you. Oh, thank you, such a good boy. That is a good boy. Go nap. Take your nap while mommy's filming. Anyways, so there's a scene that I didn't even thought of. Like it's a good consequence of one of the plot threads. It makes sense for the characters to make the decision in that plot thread, and I didn't thought of it until I started thinking that chapter 37 will be in Marcus' POV. So that's a thing that's gonna happen in this chapter as well. So it's not a filler chapter, it's actually moving a bunch of the plot threads forward. And also, right now I think I am about 1,500 words in for today. Yeah, I have 1,505 words out of the 2,959 words in this current document. So 500 more words, and then I can end my writing day, and then I can jump on a different task. So right now, I'm gonna go hop out with the popper, and then I'm coming back for the last sprint, 500 words, and then I'm done writing for the day.
I don't know why she likes me, it's my luck, or probably the timing. I don't know why she likes me, says I'm cool, then goes into hiding.
So that's the third sprint done. I still have actually a bit more than 3 minutes left in the clock when I finished the chapter, so I had to stop. But anyways, I already got my word count for the day. It's now 12:34, so that's perfect timing, I guess. So that's the end of the chapter, and I think I ended it in the best way possible. Obviously, it's the outline / first draft of it, so I still need to add more to the scene, especially at the beginning, just for timeline purposes, just so whoever reads it next time would be able to figure out the passage of time, or at least they could feel the passage of time without it being jarring. So yeah, it felt that today's I don't know what I'm saying, but today's a good writing day. I started late but still got my word count in, and it wasn't too much like pulling teeth writing down the words, so that was great. So this is where I leave you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm glad you're here. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to continue getting updates on my writing and everything else that I add into my vlog, whatever they may be, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to ring that bell so you can get notified every time I post a new video. Once again, thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!
She's